Yuba gonna love the recipe we've got for you today.
Ryan Little.
Welcome to Monson Made This. I'm Michael. This channel is devoted to making delicious vegan food for everyone. And today I have a really cool recipe for you, something that I've been wanting to make for a very long time, but I hadn't necessarily had access to the ingredients, but now that I do, we're gonna be making a vegan pulled pork sandwich using Yuba. Yuba is essentially tofu skin. I'll show you what it looks like in just a minute when I open this up. But just last weekend, we were in the Bay Area for my birthday. We went to this restaurant called the Butcher's Son, and I didn't really want any of their seitan chicken sandwiches. We had that before, it was okay. We've had their burger before, but when we saw that they had a Yuba pulled pork sandwich on their menu, we had to get it, we tasted it, we loved it, and knew that we needed to come back here and make it for this channel. So I tested a few recipes, made this up. It is delicious, and I'm really excited to share this with you because Yuba is probably my new favorite vegan meat substitute. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what the Yuba is while I open this package and cut it up, and then we'll get this sandwich going. It's gonna have a delicious slaw, some pickles. It is so good. So let's talk a little bit more about what exactly Yuba is. This is a package of Yuba. It is an 8-ounce package. I buy this in the freezer section, although you can get the same thing dried as well, just on the shelf. And so this has been thawed out, which I'm struggling to get out of this package. So this has been thawed out, but you'll see here when I open it, if I can find the opening, it is just a large disc. So this is called Yuba. It's also called tofu skin. It's called bean curd skin. And if you see here, it's just a big circle. Now the reason it is a big circle is because this is basically the top layer of the soy milk when they make tofu. So they simmer all the soy milk and then this layer forms on top and they remove it. And that's how you get Yuba. The ingredients on this are pretty simple, just soybeans and water. And you can find it at Asian markets, you can find it online. And there's, you can even find organic versions of it. This particular one is just the most accessible to me, and I've been using this and I love it. I cut this in half, and I'm going to basically just cut this half into small little strips that I will then cut into small squares. When this cooks up, it's going to absorb a little bit of water, which I'll be using broth so that it absorbs that flavor. And it won't really come out as little squares because, we're going for a pulled pork or, like a pulled chicken consistency or a texture. Even though they're little squares now, it won't necessarily be that in the end. You'll see the final product actually looks quite convincing as a pulled pork. All right, so I cut this into little strips, and now I'm just going to cut it into little squares. Doesn't have to be even or perfect. In fact, you really don't want it to be so that it gives more of that pulled meat illusion. And this is great if you like tofu, you're not really a fan of mock meats. This is basically just tofu in a different form. This amount here, I have about 4 ounces. About a quarter pound. This is going to be enough for probably like 2 hefty sandwiches or 3 to 4 smaller ones. I'm going to just put this into a pan behind me and I'll meet you over at the stove and tell you how we're going to turn this into a pulled pork. First thing I want to do is add the Yuba to the pan. Again, this is frozen, or it was frozen, but it still needs to hydrate a little bit. If you were buying just the dried, you probably want to soak that in some broth first before you do this step, but you'll see that it's actually going to absorb quite a bit of broth. So I'm going to turn this on to just about medium-high heat, and then to that I'm going to be adding 2 cups of water. To make it a broth, I'm going to add a couple teaspoons of this Better Than Bouillon No Chicken. You could probably just use vegetable broth if you wanted, or whatever your favorite vegan stock or stock base is. I'm gonna add also a couple of dashes of liquid smoke. Should be good. The color will come out a little bit light unless you add something with a bit of a darker color. So I have some dark soy sauce here. You could just use regular soy sauce. And I'm just gonna put maybe about a tablespoon or so in there. And what that's gonna do is just really help the color. So mix this together. The other ingredients that I'll be adding are barbecue sauce. Oh, I also wanted to add some onions as well, just to bring up the flavor. This is just some chopped red onion. So what I want to do here is just mix this together, and I want to bring it up to a simmer and let this go until most of the water or the broth is evaporated or has been absorbed by the Yuba. And you can see pretty quickly that the color is changing. It's now more opaque than it was. So we're just gonna let this simmer, and when it seems like most of the liquid is gone, either absorbed or evaporated, then we'll start to add the barbecue sauce. I also have a dry rub that I'll be adding closer to the end when we start to, well, it'll be in the pan for a while. A lot of the liquid will be gone and it'll sort of caramelize, and this is gonna help with that. I also have some olive oil, which I'll be adding at that point as well, just to kind of help it get a little bit fattier. You know, like a pulled pork is like a fattier meat, so we want to add just a little bit of oil there just to kind of give us that unctuousness. But other than that, this just needs to hang out, simmer. While this is doing that, I think I'm going to prep the coleslaw, which is going to go on top, which is just pretty simple. It's just going to be cabbage, some mayo, and seasonings, and yeah, this is a good time to do that. I'm just going to be making a really simple slaw. To do that, I'm going to thinly, as thin as I can, cut this cabbage. And this is just I guess it's a green cabbage. My mom bought it for me at the farmer's market when we were in California. And I'm just going to slice this really thin, and then I'm going to add some vegan mayo to it, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's pretty much it. You could doctor it up a little bit more if you wanted to add some sriracha or some other types of flavors, or if you have a favorite coleslaw. It's up to you. This is just a really simple throw it in a bowl and it's done kind of thing. Let's assemble the slaw. I've got my thinly sliced or shredded cabbage, and then I'm going to add probably just a few tablespoons of vegan mayonnaise. I prefer veganese. And this is kind of in addition to the barbecue sauce in the pulled pork, this is also what adds a nice sauciness to the sandwich. I'm just gonna add a bit of sugar, just a small pinch, and then a pinch of salt. And then I'll stir it around, taste it, and see if it needs any more of anything else. A lot of coleslaws are a little more complicated than this. This doesn't need to be any more complicated than this is. Just some mayo, some salt and pepper, and I'm gonna give this a taste just to see if it needs any more seasonings. I might add a little bit more sugar actually. Tiny bit, and then maybe a little bit more pepper as well. Other than that, it's great. It's gonna be perfect on top of our pulled Yuba, which is just about ready for me to give it some more attention. I have the heat on this pretty high, which is just helping me get a lot more of the liquid out. But as you can see, it's come down quite a bit, and the Yuba looks kind of ribbony, which is exactly how I want it. At this point, I'm gonna start to add the oil, the barbecue sauce, and the rub, and just keep it going until the rest of the liquid evaporates and it starts to caramelize a little bit. It's up to you how much of the barbecue sauce you want to put. I would say start out with maybe a half cup or so, and then maybe just about a tablespoon of olive oil. This is the dry rub. The recipe is in my pulled mushroom walking taco. It's just my favorite dry rub. It works on so many things, especially mushrooms, and it's great in here. Just adds a little bit depth of flavor. Ingredients in there are some espresso, brown sugar, and some cumin. It's just a really great flavor. The barbecue sauce I'm using today is the Sweet Baby Ray's Hickory Brown Sugar. It's something I got for free actually, and it's pretty delicious. It's what I had on hand, so that's what I'm using. This is just gonna keep going, simmer down, and most of the liquid will be gone. Then I'll start to caramelize it, and if I need some more barbecue sauce, I will add that as well. Most of the liquid is evaporated at this point, and so the goal here now is just to keep it moving, keep it cooking, and if, you know, I'm gonna give it a taste, see if it needs some more barbecue sauce, which visually I think that it does, but you can see here that there's really no liquid left in the pan, so this point now is when it's just gonna really caramelize. Also, if you wanted to make maybe a larger batch of this, or you wanted to make it ahead so that you could use it in sandwiches at another time, you could go ahead and turn it off, let it cool, save it at this point, and then when you're ready to make the sandwiches, just put it in a pan with a little bit of barbecue sauce, maybe a little bit of oil, and brown it up and caramelize it then before you put it on your sandwich. This saves really well. Ben used this to make a quesadilla the other day. He loved it. I've been eating this stuff in rice bowls. I've been doing different flavor combinations. It's so delicious. So even though this is gonna make, like I said, maybe about 3 sandwiches, this is something you probably do wanna make a little bit more of so that you have it on hand, because you will find so many delicious uses for it. And it's such a cool vegan meat alternative that's actually really high in protein and pretty clean if you're, you know, concerned about a lot of the fake meat products that are out there today, which you shouldn't be. They're delicious. All right, I'm gonna add a bit more barbecue sauce, keep this caramelizing, and then it's pretty much ready to go. All of the liquid is completely gone. It's caramelizing up nicely. It smells incredible. Looks just like some sort of pulled meat product. What I've been doing also is kind of pressing it down or putting it into a single layer on the pan, letting it set for a minute and then moving it. This is a pretty decent non-stick pan, so hopefully you know your cookware to know what you can get away with in terms of sticking or not. I didn't really need any more oil than what I used earlier, and it's just nice, starting to caramelize. It's pretty much done. And I'm ready to make a sandwich and dig into this. It smells incredible. I gave it a taste. It tastes amazing. So it is sandwich time. About ready to plate this up. I have some buns. These actually came from Whole Foods, and they say even on the back that they are vegan, but just read the labels. Usually just these simple kind of burger buns like this are normally accidentally vegan. Just, again, read the ingredients at your grocery store. I am gonna be toasting these up, and to do so, I'm going to just open them up and put a little bit of vegan mayo on here. And if you've ever made a grilled cheese, I even have my air fried grilled cheese video where I do this, but using mayo, it's a really great hack for getting things nice and brown and golden. So we're just gonna add a little bit of mayo to the inside of these buns. I have a cast iron pan that's heating up, and I'm just gonna get these a little bit browned up before we start to load it up with the pulled pork Yuba and the slaw and some pickles. All right, to the stove. Add a generous portion of the barbecued pulled Yuba to your toasted buns. Top it with your slaw. Add a few pickles. And then smash the top bun on top and dig in. Here we have our barbecued pulled Yuba sandwich. I am so ready to dig into the sandwich. Yuba is just incredible. It's full of protein. I mean, you can have things like jackfruit, and I'm trying to think of other things that they use for like pulled pork, but jackfruit doesn't have anything going on. There's no nutritional value to it, but this, it's full of protein, it's hearty, and it makes you feel full. It just sits really nicely in your stomach, and you feel like you had a really nice barbecue pulled pork sandwich. So I'm ready to dig into this. Truly, I'm obsessed. And once you try this, I know that you will be as well. And these pickles. I know it sounds like I'm being dramatic, but this thing is so incredible. Like, it tastes just like a barbecue pulled pork sandwich. The slaw is perfect for adding creaminess. I feel like I'm a complete mess, which is absolutely amazing. These spicy pickles that I added just add a nice bit of acidity and kind of cut through everything else that's sort of unctuous and fatty. It's everything you want in a sandwich like this. So you need to give this a try. Find Yuba, make this sandwich. If you want to see me finish this in all the messy glory, definitely click the link below to my Patreon. Subscribe on there and you can get to all of the Monson Ate This videos, which are the after shows. I have a lot of fun on there, just talking, being more candid, so it's a little bit more slice of life stuff. So definitely click below to watch those videos, which I'm so excited to eat this in there. Click a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't. I'm just overwhelmed by how delicious this is. I can't wait to eat it. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time with another recipe video. If you have any suggestions on other things to do with Yuba, because now you kind of see how this product works, let me know, comment below that. And yeah, I'll see you over on Monson Ate This, and you have a great week. Bye.